This is our impromptu Tradition One workshop. Let's see what happens today, people. All right. I definitely need this set aside prayer today. God, today, help me set aside everything I think I know about you, everything I think I know about myself, everything I think I know about others, and everything I think I know about my own recovery, so I may have an open mind and a new experience. I guarantee we will all have a new experience today. With all these things, please help me see the truth. All right, just some basic housekeeping. I always put this slide up. You take care of yourself today. If you get triggered, if you need to go off screen, if you need a break, a comfort break, you take care of you. The other housekeeping thing that I just want to say out loud, I do refer to my higher power as God. I use those two words interchangeably, so I just want to set that up from the beginning. Tools for today's workshop. We will be doing some journaling, so something to write with and something to write on. Also, if you have, I don't know if you can see me still on your screen, but the 12-piece relationship toolkit. If you happen to have this pamphlet, I will be reading from Tradition One. It's only 4 paragraphs, so it's not necessary for participation. Also, other tools I like for workshops and recovery in general: candles, fuzzy socks, snuggly blankets, your favorite beverage, lighting, I feel like is important. Make sure you have comfortable lighting, and any distracting sounds that you want to take care of. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna stop this screen share for you know what? Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Oh, stop share. Yay! Okay, I did it. So Rona and I, who are your current co-chairs, we started at the beginning of this year. Rona is the lovely lady from London with the British accent. She and I have had the privilege of setting up your workshops for Arizona Coda Workshop Series for a couple of years now. And as we were heading into this year, I would say maybe starting in August, she and I both have a deep passion for the Coda literature. And there are so many of these little pamphlets or free pamphlets online. We really wanted to spend a whole year highlighting our Coda literature and bringing people in to discuss the different literature, both from our blue book, from our workbook, from these pamphlets, from some of the free resources online. And some of the, I'll say, less sexy pamphlets, like the Traditions one, um, bring some excitement and rejuvenation and interest to some of these maybe more unsung heroes of our literature. So I have been privileged to be a part of a small group, 8 or 9 of us, who have spent, gosh, 2.5 years now going through this tradition booklet. We meet once a week. And we are up to Tradition 11. It's very slow going, but I asked Chris and Lisa if they would consider spending a whole year on the traditions, coming back. We don't know how often yet, but highlighting the traditions on how they help us with all relationships. This book right here focuses a lot on your primary relationship, like a partner, if you will. And even more specifically, I think it's geared towards romantic partnership. I have found it useful in all relationships. I would say the most drastic relationships that have evolved are that between myself and my children through this booklet. But even in some of the questions that I've chosen today, you will see that we need to reframe our thinking that it can be other relationships out of a romantic relationship. Chris and Lisa have agreed through this year to talk about how the traditions can help, yes, with a romantic partnership, Yes, parent to child, child to parent, if you're in the sandwich generation, but also focusing on how the traditions can help us in our places of work, with our neighbors, um, on CODA committees where a bunch of codependents are trying to work together, which is always very interesting. So I'm really excited to see how that unfolds this year. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to jump into tradition one and just get us started. So if you have your journaling equipment there, I'm going to read one paragraph and then we'll do a few questions. You can journal, and then we will spend time sharing our thoughts together. That's what we will do today. All right. So, tradition one, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon coda unity. One couple interprets tradition one for use in relationships as follows. Our common welfare should come first. Personal growth within our relationship depends on unity. In tradition one, the underlying spiritual principle is that of unity. In pursuit of healthier relationships, we learn that it is sometimes necessary to set aside our personal desires in favor of what is good for the relationship as a whole. We try to learn to do this willingly and cheerfully, recognizing the importance of unity to our own long-term welfare. If one partner's desires, opinions, or feelings come before the others, that is not a relationship between equal partners. This inequity has often led us to feelings of resentment or inadequacy. I will certainly give a here to that. Okay, so we are going to take some time now to journal on these questions. What does unity mean to me? What kind of actions do I take that promote unity in my relationships? What sorts of actions do I take that promote disunity in my relationships? All right, you can go on screen or off screen and take some time to answer these questions. I will leave them up. Each of us may take these questions and apply them to any relationship that we want. I know traditions are usually used in the context of meeting and recovery, but today we are looking at tradition one through the lens of either a romantic relationship, your relationship with your kids, coworkers, any specific relationship, not recovery as a whole. All right, let's come back together and we will share on these three questions. If you want to put your hand up. And while we're doing that, I just want to share, I like looking up definitions of some of these words. So unity is said as being the state of being united or joined as a whole. Another definition is the state of forming a complete and pleasing whole. And then I have some wonderful synonyms here that I want to share. Synonyms for unity: union, harmony, accord, cooperation, collaboration, agreement, consensus, togetherness, like-mindedness, and I like this as a synonym, peace. So one, what do you call antonym? One antonym that stood out to me was division, that the opposite of unity is division. So, all right, let's see what hands we have up. I'm gonna stop my screen share and Thank you so much for sharing. We will wait for other hands. I will share some of what I wrote. So I shared a definition and some synonyms for unity. The second question, what sorts of actions do I take that promote unity? I put at the top of my list my recovery and my mental health and everything I do to keep that intact. I feel like the healthier I am, the healthier all the relationships around me seem to get. When my meeting count is low, I sure notice it, and the people around me notice it. The second thing I wrote specifically about my relationship with my children, and something that promotes unity is listening to them. I feel like the relationship with children is so different from any other relationship that I have, because when they enter the world, they are so dependent, and my job is to control their environment and to control what comes in and out of their world. And as they get older, they become more autonomous and they individuate, and their voice should have more, should be louder to me and should have more impact on me as they get older. And I feel like that's a gradual thing. Just yesterday, my 14-year-old daughter said to me, Mom, I feel like you are treating me like a 5-year-old. And my gut reaction was, no, I'm not. I think she is overreacting and using language that is stronger than it needs to be. And my recovery told me to give it a pause, do a stop and wait. So I said, we were in a public bathroom, so we weren't going to have that conversation right there. So I said, I hear you. Let's talk about that later. And I was given the gift of about an hour before we were in the car driving home alone together. And I was able to say, all right, let's talk about that. Tell me why you feel that way. And so my defensiveness was able to come down, and I was able to have open ears rather than just feeling that gut reaction and sharing my feelings of, no, that's not true. And let me tell you why that isn't true. She had just told me that was her experience. So I'm really grateful that higher power gave me time for the pause and to collect my thoughts so she was able to feel heard. All right, I will pause my sharing and we will I'm going to ask you to unmute. I love that word, curious. I think it's so beautiful. And another word that I relate to that is wonder. I wonder why my daughter is feeling that way. And I think I'm so glad you brought up that word, curious. I wrote that here on my pad. There was a whole workshop in what you said. That's wonderful. You stole our next question, which we will get to in a moment, which is which of your character defects, get in the way of unity. So I just want to speak back some of what I heard. I heard you saying meeting people where they are, as they are. I heard you talk about ego, which in these rooms I've heard of as edging God out. I've also heard in these rooms humility, or our humility, which to me is the same as not having our ego, is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. And I just want to speak to the pause, which I did not know before these rooms. I was so reactive, and I just lived in a heightened state of reactivity. And the pause has taught me so much, just wait and listen. If it doesn't feel right, wait and listen some more. When I'm out of alignment, boy, do I know it. That's what step 10 is for me. When I am out of alignment, pause. Um, I also just want to make sure that we're not passing over this 30-second pause. I'm in a daily, I attend a daily, there's an 11 o'clock, it's a 1 o'clock East Coast meeting that I hop on sometimes, and they have instituted that 30-second. And I remember the first time I was in a meeting and that happened, I didn't know why it happened. Somebody had been triggered because someone shared something from their small group, which I didn't know, she just said this in passing. And so we paused for 30 seconds. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was powerful. And then we were all able to come back. And I remember the leader came on and said, does anyone need 30 seconds more? And we didn't, but to even offer that option, what a safe space. And then we pulled that apart a little bit, and it was so beautiful. So thank you for that share. Thank you so much. Um, oh, this the wisdom in the rooms just continues to enrich my life so much, and I would say surprise me, but it doesn't surprise me at this point. As you were speaking, I was thinking, I'm a musician and I've worked with people of all ages, and it doesn't matter the age of the person or the group. Let me talk about a choir setting. Um, if I go to the group and point out the things that are working, I hear you saying, um, looking for the similarities, looking for the things that are working between the relationships. If I point those out within the choir, they lean into it and things get better and fuller and richer. If I start pointing at the things that aren't working, like if we're out of tune, or if an entrance is wrong, that's my kid. I'm gonna hope they figure out how to get in without me. um, then they shut down and the singing becomes anemic, and they no longer want to share, because singing is a very vulnerable activity, as is relationship and connection. So thank you for that. I also want to speak to the isolation and avoidance, because that certainly is one of our, come on up here, okay? Sorry, this really wasn't the plan for today, but we're rolling with it. Um, and not being available. And for me, the way that shows up with is packing my schedule so it's so full and I can hide behind, well, I'm doing all these important things and, pat myself on the back. But really, what I'm doing is pulling away and making myself not available. Thank you so much for that rich share. Thank you so much. That to me is recovery in a nutshell, what you just said. That, yeah, when we show up, there are people who came before us doing their part. Um, and, I have found through service that that helps me get out of myself, the little pity party thing. It also gets me out of resentment. Action pulls me out of resentment. Gosh, you said one other thing. Oh, about the equal voices, everyone having an equal voice. That is something through this work, looking specifically at my kids and trying to make sure that they all have a voice, which I was raised in an environment where I was told what I thought. And oh, that is painful and a hard habit to break. It's hard to see that clearly. To start one question that we're not doing in here, question 5, can I tell the difference between my needs and desires? Now, we hit on this question when I was only 3 or 4 weeks into this study, and maybe, I don't know, at that point, 3 years into recovery. I didn't even know what my needs and desires were, much less the difference between them. I could not identify my own needs and desires. I needed someone else to tell me what they were or tell me what yours are, and then I can help accommodate that. That would make me very happy to make you happy. Oh man. So, with my children, trying to make sure that they each have their own voice and not telling them what they think, you know? Because they know what they think. I don't know what they think. And if they don't know what they think, maybe we can figure it out together. I don't know. Um, there it is. Okay. What you said reminded me of that inner critic. I don't know if you have one, but for me, it's that internal voice that just is constant. And it's not only for myself, it's also for the people around me. Like, oh, when I'm in a group and I mean, I don't even want to tell you the things I think sometimes, like, girlfriend, no, 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 no. We're all here trying to get healthy. And what if we just thought, I want to put that on a t-shirt. I love us. Because even I think outside of recovery, what would my family feel like if I just said, I love us, warts and all? I love us to my choir, even the tenor who sings too loud. There is a space for all of us. Thank you for that. As you're talking, I'm just very aware that as a person in recovery, I struggle to live in the gray. I like the black and white. I like the definites. Give me the line, tell me where it is, tell me how to do this so I can check the box and say I did it right. And that gray is hard to live in, what I hear, the difference between, solitude and isolation, definitely two different things. Um, Music and that the rests are part of the music. Yeah, I like that so much. Um, Let me just tell you, if anyone is not needing to take a break and wanting to continue your journaling, the next question, actually, I'll just put it up on the screen and then we will take a comfort break. All right. Which of my codependent behaviors get in the way of my unity? I'm going to say all of them. So you may journal on that, take a comfort break, take a walk around. In Arizona, it's 1:35. We're going to come back at let's say 1:45, 10 minutes for discussion on this very interesting question. All right. So we are going to explore this question now together. Which of my codependent behaviors get in the way of my unity? Thank you so much. I just want to tag on to that. What is the loving thing to do? We in recovery also get to say, what is the loving thing to do for me? Gosh, one other thing that you said reminded me that God shows up. Oh, yes. Okay. So what you were saying reminded me of the set aside prayer that I read at the beginning of this. By the way, any of you who have shown up uh, since I announced that if you showed up expecting to see Chris and Lisa, this is I am not Chris and Lisa. So this is an impromptu workshop. They will be back to give the presentation that we had planned at some point. But what I was going to say, that set aside prayer reminds me that if I can get out of the way, then that gives God some space. My codependent characteristic that gets in the way, there are so many to choose from, but the whole control, and I control through manipulation often, and that blocks God out, that edges God out. And my brain's just a little slow today. Give me one more moment. And when I allow space for God, then God and I can work together and it becomes a creative process, creation, me and God together. I feel like all of us, I'll speak for myself, my inner toddler, when someone gives me a compliment, I puff up. Like it feels good to have something recognized. My son's kindergarten teacher, um, he's 16 now, let us know that she liked to catch the kids doing things well. She catches them doing good things, and that actually makes the behavior of the whole classroom better. I'll never forget that. Thank you. One of my sponsors says the only time she's in the middle is when she's swinging from one side to the other. The extremes, Boy, do I relate. Um, yeah, one of the things that I really heard you saying is the importance of being real and authentic and vulnerable. And I know for me, my desire is to be in real relationship, having had things that have not been real relationship. Um, and that requires bringing everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the warts, you know, realness. I am wondering for our friends who might be new to Coda, if you would put in the chat a link to a page that lists, if you can find a page that lists not only the codependent patterns, but in recovery, that's my favorite list. Yeah, Deborah's with me. When I saw that the first time, I'm like, thank you. Don't just tell me how I'm broken. Tell me how to make it better. I wrote that one down. Trust God, love people. And then I always need the reminder that I'm a people. I get to love myself as well. I want to say two things. I am hearing so much step 6 and 7 right now, which to me is when I look at the characteristics, which by the way, did put that link in there. Thank you so much. Step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all those defects of character. And step 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. That is what I'm doing when I'm identifying what the habit is. And then if we look at the other side of that, in recovery, this is how we get to live. And that's the affirmation side. I've heard a friend say they use that right column as affirmations. And it's something we're aiming for. None of us are doing this perfectly, you know. But if we stick around long enough, for me, my experience, what I've seen in these rooms is it does get better. It just, we keep showing up and it just gets better. I'm not quite sure how it works, but it does. I heard in a meeting once that the pain is the path, and that has been my experience, that the places of pain is where I need to look, and that the only way out is through. I don't love that one, but it is certainly the truth for me. Um, and I too am grateful for the areas that God has revealed to me that need looking at. I know early in my recovery, I wanted to fix everything all at once. And I had long, long, long lists. And, you know, my first sponsor would just do all the slogans, easy does it, and her favorite thing to say with me was, you need to go with the flow. I'm a worker bee, and if work could fix this, I would be fixed already. There is no fixing, after this layer of the onion, after God has helped me repair some of that, then we get to look at the next layer. What, lucky us. And truly lucky. I love us. I love us that are willing to look at these things in our life. Thank you so much. Your statement about being teachable just reminds me of step 10. I don't know if I like to participate in a daily step 10 at the end of my day, written out, and looking at it, and then going with my sponsor and looking for patterns. And that's, we don't do that for kicks, that's for growth. So thank you for pointing me towards step 10. All right. If you would like to join me as we say our closing prayer, we thank our higher power for
higher
all that we
power
have
for all that we have
received from this meeting.
received from
As we
this meeting.
close, may we take with
Take
us
with
us the
wisdom,
wisdom, love,
love,
acceptance, and hope of
acceptance,
recovery.
of recovery. All right. Thank you.